Our Across the Aisle segment tonight, President Trump fired FBI Director James Comey, and liberals are crying foul. Ironic, since they've been calling for Comey to be fired ever since he exposed Hillary Clinton's email cover-up. But now liberals are so focused on chasing Russian conspiracy theories that they forgot just how bad of an FBI director they thought Comey was. With me now, Democratic strategist Joel Payne. Joel, good to see you.
Good to see you too, Liz.
All right, Joel, what's your hot take on this? I mean, you know, liberals, especially in November, in late October, early November, were saying that they lost confidence in James Comey, that he clearly was politicizing the election. He was a political hack. Hillary Clinton just last week blamed Comey as part of the reason she lost the election. Now that Donald Trump has fired him, liberals are, horrified. What do you think of this?
Well, two things can be true, right? It can be true that James Comey had an undue influence on the election and that a lot of people on my side of the aisle did want him gone. And it can also be true that the president was wrong for basically pressuring Jim Comey into giving him more information about whether he was investigating him and using, the findings from that information to figure out whether or not he wanted to keep them. So both of those things can be true.
Wait a second. When you say pressure,
they are not facts in concert.
I watched the hearings today, too. I mean, we knew that was going to be the focus. I think that's why Trump included that line in his letter. I do actually give him kudos for that. That was a smart political move. What do you mean pressure? Is asking the FBI director the question, is asking that undue pressure?
Let me ask you this. If President Hillary Clinton asked Jim Comey, hey, Jim, are you still investigating my emails? And if she did that 3 times in the first 3 months of her presidency, what would you and what would a lot of the conservatives in America think? She'd think that they're trying to influence him. Heck, you thought Loretta Lynch was influenced by Bill Clinton having a conversation on a plane tarmac.
No, I thought that was the
there's
appearance,
a double standard here
the inappropriate appearance of conflict of interest. Clearly, James Comey did too. But Joel, let me ask you, do you think that James Comey would have lasted as FBI director for 1 day under a Hillary Clinton presidency?
Maybe, maybe not. Despite the fact that Mr. Comey took actions, again, that I do think influenced the election, I think overall, I think he's a good man. I think he was trying to do the right thing. I think he made bad mistakes. But I do not believe that President Trump, I think we need to frame back here and understand that President Trump here is trying to save his own hide. He knows that Comey was getting close on Russia.
Wait a second.
That's
from
why
what?
He tried to get all of his underlings. Well, we know that from reports that Comey apparently was seeking more staff and more resources to investigate Russia. He told the committee this week that he felt like he had an undue influence on the election. I think the president can read the tea leaves and can see that Comey was getting
neither
close.
Neither of those things, with all due respect, are true. Neither of those things are true. I mean, Comey said if he had an influence on the election, it made him mildly nauseous to think about. I agree it was not appropriate either time for Comey to come out in July or in October and say the things he did without taking action. That's partially why Trump fired him. He did a very bad job with that. He changed a previously apolitical organization into a political organization. But the first talking point that you used, where you said that James Comey had just asked the Department of Justice for more resources and more money, the Department of Justice spokeswoman, Sarah Flores, she said that story was false. It was based off of a rumor and that he never asked.
Yeah, I'm sure we could trust the Jeff Sessions the Department of Justice on that one.
Well, what's your source, though? What's your source for the claim that he did ask? An unnamed source close to the White House?
My source is a lot of good reporting, and I will say this. It'd be nice if the White House and President Trump were on the same page. We got Sarah Huckabee Sanders saying one thing today, and we got Donald Trump saying another thing to Lester Holt tonight. So it'd be nice if they actually were on the same page too. But let's just frame in on what the important thing is here. The American people cannot trust this president. This president has been dishonest from day one. It's clear that he's had some dealings with Russia that he does not want us to know about. Maybe they're inappropriate, maybe they just look bad.
I want to follow you. I don't disagree that sometimes President Trump has said things, especially during his campaign, that he's changed his mind on as president. I don't think that's the right thing to do. I think a lot of politicians do it. That's why we don't trust politicians in general. But wait a second. When you say it's clear that he's had inappropriate dealings with Russia, what evidence do you have? This has been something I've been asking all week. Senator Feinstein, Senator Manchin, and James Clapper all said that they had not seen any evidence that Trump colluded with Russia in any way. Joel, what evidence have you seen?
Well, it'd be nice if Jim Comey could complete his investigation so we could see what evidence there is there. There's a lot of smoke there.
Wait. So you don't have any evidence, though? Because if you do, this is breaking news. This is huge.
Well, I certainly have a lot of circumstantial evidence and a lot of smoke, and that's why you get rid of the FBI director when he's in the middle of investigation. So you can go on TV and you can say, hey, we don't have any evidence because the people who were investigating this weren't able to finish their job.
So you don't believe Senator Feinstein?
I'm actually not sure what you're referring to there, but my guess is that she, along with a lot of members of that committee, probably can't speak to a lot of the things that they've been told.
Senator Feinstein was asked, and I just want to clarify this for our viewers' edification too. Senator Feinstein was asked if she had seen any evidence that Trump or any Trump associates colluded with Russia to influence our election, and she said, no, I have not. Senator Manchin was asked the same thing. He said, no, I have not. These people, keep in mind, Joel, they were briefed by the CIA before they answered this question. I mean, are you saying that they're lying, or do you have evidence that they don't have?
I also have not seen the sun set over Beijing, but I know that it happens. So that's my answer to that. Look,
but that's not how the system of law and order works in our country. That's not how our justice system works. You have to have evidence to prove a wrongdoing. You can't just say, oh, the appearance looks bad, therefore I convict you. I mean, that's awful.
Well, Liz, that's why you have the FBI investigate it, and that's why it's not a good look to have the president sack the FBI director when he's in the midst of an investigation, which, by the way, was leading to a conclusion, and I don't think the president would have liked.
So you're saying the investigation? You're saying the investigation is over. You're saying the investigation is over now that James Comey's been fired?
I hope not.
No, it's not.
I hope that the president allows the investigation to continue to go on. But are you? Let me ask you this: do you think the president is going to pick somebody who is going to aggressively investigate whether he and his campaign had anything to do with Russia?
I certainly hope so, if there's evidence that would lead them to believe that that were the truth. Joel, you and I have talked about this before. If there was any collusion on the part of Donald Trump or an associate of Donald Trump with Russia to influence our election, I promise I will be the first one to call that out. That's not right. It doesn't matter your political party. I am opposed to a witch hunt which convicts the president or the president's staff or associates or his campaign of something that there is no evidence, no Democrat can show any evidence that happened.
And again, there's no evidence because the fact that the president just sacked the person who was leading the investigation. So yeah, it's easy to say there's no evidence when you sack the FBI director who's going after the evidence that might exist. One other thing, I never use talking points, I promise you, Liz.
Good. I don't know. I don't think the investigation's not going to stop. Andrew McCabe, the acting FBI director himself, said that you're not going to stop the FBI from investigating what is right and wrong. Trump himself said in that interview that you referenced with Lester Holt that the investigation, that he hopes that they get to the bottom of it. I mean, the American people do in general. We need evidence. We need evidence for this investigation to go forward, and Democrats have not produced that.